part of enterprise application. It's like, it's not that right now if I'm facing a user application, I have to think like what in the morning there was a question, which platform to support. I have to think whether I have to target for India or I have to target Europe or US. But in enterprise application, I don't have to think that because it depends on corporates. So right now, in India, if you see, people are talking about Nokia phones because that's the common phone everyone has. Nokia, Sony phones coming around 4 to 7,000 range, which are mostly UIQ based, which are Symbian Series 60 based, Series 40 based, these kind of phones. There is no talk on iPhone yet in India. There is not Blackberries. Yes, there is a talk. If you are going to a very big enterprise and they are okay giving Blackberry phones to their employees, yes, they talk about Blackberry applications. But otherwise, the SMEs, these kind of people, they need applications on these kind of small 3,000 to 7,000 segment phones, which are mostly Nokia, Sony Ericsson, Samsung phones.
So, in terms of platform, is it more a Symbian platform or a Java platform you're talking about, which can address India?
So it's basically now it's again depends. It depends on enterprises. If they are targeting phones on the base of their costs, then it is Java for sure. But if they I have my 120 guys who all have Nokia phones and they are all 360 phones, then I would preferably make a 360 application because it will be more powerful than a Java application.
Sell as a service and not an app. I have always found it difficult to sell as a service to a bigger enterprise. I mean, bigger enterprise will definitely want to keep the app as an IP, right?
Okay.
Why do you say like sell as a service?
Okay. So I think I had a different experience. So it was like even in the US market, they prefer more of selling as a service. In India market, they prefer that, okay, you sell. In India, basically, there is no resource, there is no limitation of the resources and stuff like that. They say, okay, you build an enterprise application, give it to me in a cheap price, I take care of all AMC, whole support, I will take care of that. In India, it happens this way. If I'm talking to companies in India, maybe let's say, example, I talk to Airtel, Vodafone, Idea, they are always targeting, give me an app. I don't want any revenue sharing. I don't want any SAS model. Give me an app. I'll do. Just give me working app. I'll make sure it works for next 10 years. But yeah, US it's different. It's mostly.
It depends a bit also on the what is the buyer's view of the seller.
Yes.
So if the buyer views the seller as a credible large company who's going to be around for 10 years, willing to support it, then I think they are more willing to accept it as a service. But as a smaller company, selling into a larger company,
Yes.
without an established track record, it becomes all the more harder to sell.
That's true. So I am coming from a small company for last 5 years. So that's exactly. So my viewpoint was yes, it is difficult, but yeah, if you are able to sell as a service, it's always beneficial in long term. Maybe not in short term, but yes, long term. But yeah, small companies, it's very difficult to sell something.
There is one more point. Right? Most of these applications I have seen they are sold as software as a service. And what happens, right? The entry point for the small SMEs, right, becomes lower because they pay on per user per month basis. So in that case, the entry point becomes smaller, and even you see if you have to make any modification changes later on, so that becomes part of it.
And actually for the larger companies also, because most of them actually prefer to outsource something that's mundane and redundant as this. It makes more sense for them to have something on an engagement model rather than somebody who can give you the platform as well as service you is a great guy who can outsource.
Which is true, provided let's say you are a large company, you are HLS, and let's say I am also someone of equal standing. They will prefer to do it. If I'm a startup, 5-man shop, they are definitely not going to do it.
This is one thing I've observed. Okay, in terms of consulting, this one thing I've observed. It's not about whether you're big in terms of your brand name or whatever, but if you can justify that I am not one person, I am 15 people at the back end, which you can always expand to if you're getting the business. So if you are 15 people out there, then there is more credibility to your organization because he says, it's not like, run by one person who's probably not going to be, servicing me for long. And one, ideology that works with most big companies is it's a build, operate, transfer model. You never tell them when it's transferred, but you just tell them it's build, operate, transfer. So that basically helps, them understand.
small companies they don't have a direct because you see, I'm a small company and because the entry point is small, right? So I can trust you, and if you are failed to deliver, I can always remove you because I have not invested a lot. I'm not investing a lot of money.
I mean, it's not a question of investing in your company. It's a question of investing in my processes. If I'm a company who has rolled out your software, your application to 10,000 of my employees, right? The cost of rolling back and replacing with another vendor solution, retraining, managing the logistics, that's a huge challenge. It's a Herculean task, which is the reason I think you are having an exception in trying to sell with just 15 people behind you. It's an extremely difficult sale to make for a small company to sell into a large company, especially with the service. So I would rather agree with Gurpreet saying that in these cases it's easier to sell as an app. They say that okay, you sell me an app, you train my folks how to manage the whole infrastructure. Tomorrow, if need be, I'll have it replaced. So in that case, you have one-time sale.
The build of the transfer is what I said.
Okay, then we are in agreement.
I think you were already in agreement. So what you were saying, he was also saying the same one in a different words.
Okay.
One last question from my side.
Yes.
I think, can you just go back to the slide on somewhere you mentioned about distribution, right? So when I'm talking to customers, I have felt like, all the enterprises are very much not in agreement on this process. Like, how will you do the deployment and distribution? When I have my field engineers roaming around everywhere and they have Macromax kind of a mobile and Samsung 200 kind of a mobile, and I want to distribute my app to all these guys.
That is exactly.
No, what is your experience? I mean, you have talked to a lot of people.
Yes, that is exactly the challenge we got. Okay, so we started with one platform. We were made to port it across to 7 different platforms. But yeah, if there is a low-end mobile, basically politely ask, please replace it. so it's like, yeah, if they have something around 80% people having that low-end mobile, you are nowhere. You can't help because in mobile it's a problem with creating applications. Everywhere on mobile. Thanks.
Off with a tough definition of enterprise mobility, and then he gave his own definition. He spoke about the various platforms, the various challenges, he spoke about the case studies, and he got all of us involved into this talk. So this great man, Gurpreet, did a wonderful job. So big hand for Gurpreet. It's not that enterprise mobility has just come as of now. Since ages, right? I mean, I just call up my grocery guy and he used to do everything. So we had enterprise on the mobile. It's just that time is changing and the face of mobility is changing. So I bet on enterprise mobility, and of course, Gurpreet too.
You're from IBM.
Yeah, IBM, yes. IBM bets on enterprise mobility. I reveal a secret. Yeah, thank you very much, Gurpreet, for the fantastic talk. And your for the stage, you guys. So can we have you guys joining hands? So now here we come to the end of the deep dive session for this hall. Now some housekeeping stuff. I assume that you guys have handed over the quiz, Nokia quiz forms to the booth, right? We have a tea break here, and after that we get on to the spring hall, wherein the cream of the mobile developer conference is there, right? So we have Edwin Moses going to address us, and after that I'm more excited about the panel discussion that's going to happen. So be tuned, and we disperse as of now. Thank you so much.